All right, HBCU Legends fans, that's Kyle T. Mosley here with a good one today. Well, look, man, it's not many people you got to say you got much respect for, but you have to really give them their due and their praise. You see these guys all the time being very supportive of Jackson State from past, even before Dion, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, I like what not only what they're doing and what he's doing by not only supporting the kids through the podcast, but through a collective that they just started. And I'll let him talk to you a little bit more about it than myself. We always bring you the legendary figures. Well, we have another one, Mr. Ken Clark. What's going on, Ken?
Hey, Kyle, how you doing, man? I appreciate that. Happy to be on with you.
Oh, well, definitely, man. I know a couple of years ago when we were at the HBCU Legacy Bowl, we said let's hook up. So finally, we hooked.
Yeah, man. HBCU Legacy Bowl, man. I love it. I've had a chance to go to the last 3 Legacy Bowls, and one of the things we try to do is every time we have some Jackson State Tigers down there, we go down there to give them some support. When we're on live JSU sports chat with KC 1400 friends, myself, TD, and the entire crew, we oftentimes talk about how if we don't support our own, no one else will. So we just try to pay it forward and continue to make sure we patronize our own product and let everyone know that this is a good time. It's in the Big Easy over in New Orleans, and it's always a great week. Huge shout out to Doug Williams, Shaq Harris, and all those who put on the HBCU Legacy Bowl. Man, it's a great time. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Look, a lot of people don't know it. The way I started HBCU Legends, that was my first interview.
Okay, all right.
James. And I said, well, I'm interviewing some HBCU legends. Let's call it HBCU Legends. And that's when everything got jumped off here, man. But the thing I would like to kind of talk to you about, because, look, man, you're in this space and you see the passion from the HBCU fans. It doesn't matter if you're Jackson State, Florida A&M. You could be Division 2, 3. It doesn't matter. As long as you have some passion about what your school is doing, whether they're good or not, and Morehouse, we try to be good in football, but, ain't quite there yet.
Right.
But Coach Mathis is on his way. But the thing is, your personal journey, what inspired you first to start the KC 1400 Media Group?
Well, everything starts out of Tiger Talk TV, which was originally Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, true blue Tiger, went to JSU. My whole entire family went to JSU. JSU football and JSU athletics period is a favorite pastime of Jackson's natives. We tell everyone that we don't have a NFL team in the state of Mississippi or a pro team. Jackson State is our pro team. That's why you see us come out in droves. We went through, we had some success under Coach Rick Comedy for about we had a good run with Coach Comedy, close to 10 years.
Right.
And after Coach Comedy, we went through a rough patch, man, like 6 or 7 years of just downward. It was a downward slope and a lot of turnover. We had Coach Harold Jackson come in and followed up by Coach Tony Hughes and Coach John Hendrick. And then finally, COVID happened. Coach Hendrick was in his second year, and around 2019, during this downward slope of Jackson State football, this dark era that we like to call it, right? D. Corey C. Started Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. And what that was, Kyle, we got tired of the local newspaper, the Clarion Ledger. We didn't feel like we were getting favorable, I would say, news coverage from the local media. And
Wow.
It was birthed out of a passion of just wanting to tell our own story. So Corey, being a mass comm major, he worked. He was did some journalistic work, and he also an entrepreneur. Started the podcast. It was all audio. A lot of those names that you see with other platforms right now was birthed out of Tiger Talk. Chuck Bishop, who works for the SWAC now,
Right.
Christopher Darrell Neely, who with the pregame show, Follow Coach Prime, myself, Mike B, Shaq, and a host of others. Vic, I mean, you name. We all
Was
were
Zoe
good.
a part of you guys as well?
As well as Zoe. So Zoe and I was recruiting guys. We loved to just talk recruiting. Like we were nerds about Jackson State offer these, and Zoe was more, I would say, he was more detailed with it. I was just more of I was detailed, but I wasn't as thorough and detailed as Zoe. But it led to a great commonality. And Zoe would have a notebook and have lists of names that was written down. And I mean, it was just we just loved Jackson State football. And you meet someone that loves it like you love it and into what you're into. So Corey would invite Zoe and I on Tiger Talk whenever that we were discussing recruiting, right?
Okay.
If there was some other interesting shows, we'd come on and support as well. But it was so vast, as you can see the evolution of it now with Tiger Talk TV. Now you have band sessions with the Boom. You have a KC 1400 Media Group. You have a new series that's coming out that is about to launch, where we're going to be telling our own college stories, like live from Lynch Street. And I'm if you go to Tiger Talk TV on all forms of social, whether it's Twitter or Instagram, you'll see that graphic out there, and that's interesting. It'll be live. It'll be live probably on Sunday night. So the it just the evolution continues, right?
Yeah.
But in comes Coach Prime. In 2020, we were having a call. We just did a show about 5 stars, the potential of big time African American athletes coming back to HBCUs like in the times past. I remember myself, Neely, Mike B, Corey. I can't remember who else is on that. Chuck Bishop maybe was on that. Audio was on that interview, and we just talked afterwards.
Yeah.
And they knew, I didn't know. And, they were like, I think Neely was like, yeah, Coach Brian's supposed to be our coach next. And I was like, wait, what? So there was this audio that was circulating, Kyle. There was this audio where they'll play that, they'll drop that audio in the chat every now and again. And they of me saying, wait a minute, what? I was like, you mean like Deion Sanders is gonna like stop? And everybody got real quiet and they just listened. I was like, man, come on, man. Y'all. It's like, no, I'm serious. Deion Sanders. I was like, you guys are serious. Like Deion Sanders is going to be our coach. And I was flabbergasted. I was always been a fan of Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved Shador.
Yeah.
As a fan, since I used to watch the show, I was a big fan of him just as a player. And I never would have dreamed that Shador Sanders would have came in and been our quarterback. So I said that to say this. That's what it started with. Even if you go back into the annals of history of Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on Spotify, if you went to audio podcasts, Chuck Bishop and Neely actually interviewed Coach Prime that interview is on Tiger Talk.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yes. So when you think about the history and the evolution of these platforms, it started off with Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club live.
Yeah.
Where Chuck and Neely were gonna go and do this live element of Tiger Talk, right? And then out of that birth the pregame show, and it was like, oh wow. So Corey really wasn't into the video piece. He had mastered the audio part, and he loved it, and it was working.
Uh-huh.
And we watched it, we supported it. It was like, all right, cool, 2 years go by, and Coach Prime, the rest of the history will tell you what happened. Yeah, the rest is history. So now that opened up kind of a spot, man. Corey was like, hey, man, do you want to do some interviews? And I was like, cool. I think I did an interview and it went well. He was like, man, I think you're a natural at doing this. This might be a lane for you. And I said, hey, it was fun. I never thought I'm a salesman, man. I'm not into it, but this allows me to be attached to something that I really love. I left the city of Jackson, Mississippi in 2013. So none of us lived there at the time. Zoe was in Atlanta, Corey's in Orlando, Mike V's in Orlando. I'm in Austin, Texas. Shaq's in Atlanta, in South Georgia. It's none of us are there.
And Chuck was in Houston, right?
And Chuck's in Houston. Yeah, absolutely. So it was just a bunch of former Jackson guys, man, that's abroad, and we just talking JSU stuff. So
yeah,
the pregame show takes off. Pregame show takes off, and I know I'm long-winded because we're talking 5-6 years of history, and I'm just trying to do it real quick. So, and this is why I'm gonna get to the answer to your question, but here we are in a situation where now you have the birth of the pregame show, which is just phenomenal at this point because they have immediate access.
Access was the thing that was just everybody was like,
it was out of this
he was
world,
just
man.
being cool, So
yeah. So Neely struck a great relationship with Coach Prime and got straight access. He and Chuck Bishop, and then we followed everything, and it was cool. And then Coach Prime leaves 2 years later, and then we saw the pregame show exit with Coach Prime for the most part. Not Neely would say he didn't exit, I'm pretty sure, but he's a true blue Tiger, respectfully, and he had an opportunity, and many would take that opportunity as well. You join at the hip with one of the most famous sports figure in the history of American sports, and man, business, it ain't personal, it's business, right? So exactly. He exits for the most part and goes to Boulder, Colorado with Coach Prime. We navigated to YouTube, and the YouTube piece. Now here comes Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club going to YouTube, and I was pushing. We were doing Spotify video at first, and I was like, man, we got to go to YouTube, Corey. And then finally, we could not. We did an interview with Isaiah Bolden. For some reason, Corey couldn't upload it to Spotify, and then he just said, forget it, man. He just uploaded it to YouTube. So if you go to that Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club YouTube page, because there's two Tiger Talk pages. Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club, and then there's Tiger Talk TV, which we just rebranded about a year or so ago. That first interview was the Isaiah Bolden interview. And now, but prior to that, Kyle, while Deion Sanders was in his last year at Jackson State, I was on the phone with Zoe, and I was like, here's what I did. I took my personal YouTube page. It's just regular YouTube. I'm Ken Clark, man. And I dropped a video. I just did a video. I saw a video of someone panning the crowd at the vet and all these fans cheering. And I just dropped it on the page, and I got like 200 views. I was like, whoa. I say, wait a minute, man. I think I can do this, So I'm talking to Zoe, and I told him, I said, man, I think I can create a YouTube page, just start doing content, just being creative with it. So I got on YouTube, and I started just dropping random videos. So the idea of Ken, so the page was Ken Clark 1400, part of 1400 Club, part of Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. For those who don't know, 1400 J.R. Lynch is the address at Jackson State University. So that's where the attachment to the 1400 comes. Gotcha. And respectfully to the 1400 Club, who we all were representing and a part of. All right. I'm on YouTube, so I get this grand idea, man, Deion Sanders at Jackson State is like Hollywood, man. This is look, man, it's lightning in a bottle. Everything that you drop is people are eating it up like puppy chow, man. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna do game reactions. So I started doing post-game reactions. Okay. Then I would do like kind of the behind the scenes. So my idea was I'll just come on and talk about the interview we just did for Tiger Talk. So it was merely to promote Tiger Talk, kind of do some behind the scenes stuff. But I'm not really a creator like that, man. I'm fighting with myself. I don't really want to just be out there like that, man. I work for a Fortune 500 company. I'm a senior manager. I'm over the state of California, and I'm like, I don't want to be out there like that, you know. So I'm
Gotcha.
fighting that. KC 1400 Media. All right. Deion Sanders. Now the channel, I have a channel. It's Ken Clark 1400. That's the name of the channel. And at the Celebration Bowl 2022, Deion Sanders pre-Celebration Bowl press conference, I think he alluded to the fact, because there was it wasn't, the relationship was being
And that's when he was being courted by Colorado. And remember, right before the Celebration Bowl, he said, "Yeah, I had interviewed with."
Yeah, he had accepted. Well, at this time, he had accepted the job. Because remember, he told us that after the SWAC championship. So now, fast forward to Atlanta, he's in Colorado the whole week, and he goes to Colorado and he comes back for practice that week, and he goes over to Atlanta. There was a rift between Coach Prime and our previous president, Thomas Hudson,
right?
That was being reported that they weren't seeing eye to eye on some things, and which is unfortunate because we never wanted to see Deion leave out of the door the way that he left out of the door. I think most people, if in their heart of hearts, if we were being honest, if everybody was being honest, we wanted to see that divorce be, very civil, because we felt like there could have been some residual revenue, money, all type of partnerships that could have been that yielded from him exiting the door. All right. So, but he said something. He said, when he leaves, and he said everybody would know what we were doing while we were here, because things are going to kind of return back to what they were. And I'm not putting words in his mouth.
I do remember that. I do recall.
That's what he said. And I'm going to just be honest with you, Kyle. And I know some people may not like this statement, but we're Jackson, Mississippi, man. We always been doubted, and we've always been counted out, and we always felt like we were disrespected, and we were like, and I'm like, did he say that? I think he just said it. And not that I was just like, we're going to be fine. That's my mentality, because our mentality is like, all right, we're going to be good, bro. Whatever. So from that, I started going live. And I had a live stream, and everybody come on, man. It was a very emotional time for us, man. There's still no show. There's still no KC 1400 Media yet.
Now, how were you going live? Was it going on Facebook?
I would just get on YouTube. I would get on YouTube. The page was Ken Clark 1400. So I would get on my YouTube page and we'll go live, and people would tune in. So during this time, everybody's emotional. Everybody has an opinion. There's a lot of things being said about what happened at Jackson State. Stealing, beating folks out of money. And there's a lot of misinformation, man. And it was very damaging to our brand. It was damaging and it hurt. Let's be real. It hurt, man, being a Jackson State Tiger, and seeing the public. When you got someone who has a following that big, and you see the world kind of like stomp on you, and they don't know what's real, what's not real.
Right.
And it was like, damn, man, this is tough. But we stood in the gaps, and out of that, like Mr. Rochelle would say, out of that chaos birthed something very beautiful that I didn't even know that would happen. So Zoe and I started going live, and we would be the main two hosts of just being live. There was no real structure. It was just, hey, we're going live. And
you guys would have 2-3 hour shows.
Man, it was crazy, man. Like
hundreds of people watching.
I tell you, some of those reaction shows, Kyle, were, man, I was getting 1,200 people watching them shows, man. I was just like, dang, I'm just giving my thoughts and opinions.
You guys,
yeah.
What's going on?
So during this time, TD, we met TD I met TD in 2021 at the Orange Blossom Classic. At this time, TD is he likes what we're doing. He's just a fan, but he did tell me, he's like, hey man, if you have anything, I do have a camera. I got, if you need anything, I'm willing to help, So, and I think during that time we had the Shrine Bowl. Dallas Daniel went to the Shrine Bowl. And that's kind of what happened. I want to say it was 2021. My memory may not. That's when I first met him.
Okay.
But I'll say this. It's still chaotic right now, even for us. But I'm seeing this. I'm seeing Miss Rochelle starts coming up. My buddy Marcus Williams, we call him Nook. He's a train engineer. He's a Jackson native. He's living in Shreveport. He's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we all went to the Legacy Bowl. Myself, Zoe, TD came, Sharante came, Nook. So you see it's like the four horses. It organically happened. And then I'm feeling like this, Kyle. Everybody is being on the channel that said Ken Clark 1400.
Right.
And me, I don't really want to be out front like that. I just don't want my name. I had to take my
tough for you
name
to
off of it.
accept that you were now the leader?
Yeah. It took a second because I'm a team guy, man. I'm a team guy. That's why the show
every
is.
Team needs a leader, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And and I'll say this. That's where the KC 1400 and friends, because I started dropping the link in the chat. I know a lot of people had call-in shows.
Yeah.
Just go back to it. I'm not trying to claim some innovative guy, whatever, but this is just the truth. No one was dropping the link in their chats and allowing the chat to just pop up on the screen with them. Because I was like, I don't want to do a call show. Everybody who's doing this is having call-ins. And I was like, no.
You were giving the fans access to be able to join in on the discussion and have.
I want you to sit next to me. Sit at the same table I'm sitting at.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion, regardless of what it was. Man, this is crazy, man. We got shows for 3 years back. People getting on there and hey, they going off, and it was wild. So me and Zoe was talking, and I was like, man, I gotta add some. My entrepreneur mind was like, I gotta add some structure to this. So I was like, you know what? This isn't about Ken Clark. So I just made it. I hyphenated. I said KC 1400. It was Ken Clark. I think it was like Ken Clark Media, something like. I don't know, man. I was just like, you know what? How about KC 1400 Media?
Right.
And then I was like media group, because we're a group, you know?
Yeah.
So I went and started, and I went in and incorporated that, man, and started a business, KC 1400 Media Group. Now it's about the brand, and I created the logo, and this thing is rolling, man. And after Dion left, because people may I brought it up because we started doing crowd search fundraising via the YouTube channel. And I think we started initially with Coach Tamika Reed, women's basketball. Mm-hmm. We were playing UCLA, and I met with her, and we raised like $3,400, man, via YouTube to take the team to Universal Studios. That was like our first initiative. And then she was like, she wanted to have like her own, like food station in the gym. We got her a freezer from one of the local stores here. We did like a food fill-up. We got some air fryers. All of this is coming through donations. So, Cal, we started doing so many initiatives, and it led to us doing a $50,000 initiative where the strength and conditioning coach, Coach Beef, comes to Zoe and I and sit us down and say, hey, the university is renovating the weight room, and we want to he was like, I got this company that can put Jackson State on the weights. And he gives us this layout, and he's like, man, that he gave us the cost and everything. And I'm looking at this, I said, hey man, I'm feeling good. I'm like, we can do anything, because we done so many initiatives. We got so much momentum just birthed out of, I would say, a challenge by Deion Sanders. Now you have to say it a little differently, because I do not have any animosity towards the Sanders family or Deion Sanders. I know a lot of former Jack, or just Jack State folks just don't care for him for whatever reason. I know I was close enough to see all of it and know enough of it. But for me personally, it's just counterproductive. So I'll say this and I'm done. That's where it came from, Kyle. We started doing all these things, and I wanted to take Ken Clark off of there, and I made it KC 1400 Media Group, which is Ken Clark 1400 Media Group. But it felt better for me because now I can swallow this a little easier, and it's about everyone. It's about the whole crew as well as our supporters. So that's where that name came from, and that's where this whole movement and mission got started. And then
That's great.
that ain't even a collective or the foundation or nothing. It just kept going, man. It
Yeah,
took off
and
down
we're
the
going
road
back,
and then
and we're
stopped.
going to get into the collective, man. But
Yeah.
I got to say this, Ken. It's a great story. Number one, because
Yeah.
sometimes what you do is birthed out of what you never thought you could do.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
God
Yes.
knew you can do it. And now
Yes.
you're at a position where a lot of people need to have KC 1400. Think about it. Look at all the Jackson State fans that gravitate to you guys not each week, but each show. Is
Yeah.
because Jackson State, whether people are going to agree with my statement or not, is one of the best brands at this time across the board for football,
Yes.
basketball. We're talking about the band, right?
Oh yeah.
We're talking about when people are looking at what's happening now in HBCU sports, Jackson State is one of the premier brands out there. And I saw that somebody had a tier of Blue Bloods and tier 1 and all this other stuff. I was like, let's be honest right now. If we're talking about Blue Bloods, the only Blue Bloods back in the day was Grambling State, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Florida A&M and Tennessee State, right? And now there's a shift. There's a shift going on. And Jackson State, and much credit to TC Taylor for keeping, or well, not only keeping, but being able to put his own stamp on the Jackson State football team and have them winning at a high level, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. So here's my question. How did TC Taylor help? Well, how did you guys help influence TC Taylor and TC Taylor help influence you guys?
Wow. Well, it starts with Coach TC Taylor he's a Jackson State Tiger. He embodies what True Blue is all about. Man, everyone knows who TC Taylor is, man. He's come in as a quarterback. He was a 3-sport star coming out of Pike County, South Mississippi. And he converted from a quarterback position to wide receiver, and he's the all-time leading receptions leader for the university. Got into coaching and was having some great success. I'll fast forward to him being the offensive coordinator at North Carolina Central when they were over there winning MEAC titles under Coach Jerry Mack. And Coach Mack leaves, and I think he left to go to, I want to say Rice at this time. He leaves to go become the offensive coordinator. It could have been another job, but I know he left to go take another position, which Coach Taylor comes home. And if you think about our AD, Ashley Robinson, who had the foresight and the vision to bring Coach Taylor home. If you go back and look at Coach Taylor was hired in 19. He was going to be really coaching waiting behind Coach John Hendrick. Coach John Hendrick got a 2-year contract, and we knew that Coach TC Taylor was that it was like the favorite son that we were waiting. There was some rumblings and just kind of being in the know. You knew that it was his time.
Okay.
But in comes Deion Sanders. You get an opportunity to get a Deion Sanders and to really like lightning rod your brand. You got to take that. A.D. Robinson had the vision to talk to Coach Prime about coaching his son, Shador. And he wound up getting Shiloh as well, along with Travis and all the other great student athletes that came to play for us. But the thing that you remember, if you go back and recall, there were 2 people that was left after Coach Prime came in the building. Those 2 people were required to stay on the staff. I won't get into the specifics of how.
Okay.
Yes, that's Coach TC Taylor and Coach Otis Ridley. They stayed on staff with Coach Prime because you got to have something left over when this juggernaut walks out the door, right? So Coach Taylor. So when we initially got started with some initiatives, it wasn't necessarily just us. It was some other alums that partnered with football ops during that time to get like some pallets of water. I remember when Coach Prime had a something at the hotel. It was like a meet and greet or like a Q&A. And I got a chance to go to him and say, hey, coach, we got some, we were able to put together some funds to get the team some water. And he was like, okay, all right, cool. Just get with Sam Marini. And I connected with Sam and we were able to get that dropped off. But that was through another core of alums and supporters that knew Toya. So that's kind of where things kind of got started with that. So my point in saying that was this. When Dion was our coach, man, everybody was willing to do anything for Jackson State, including Jackson's folk, Jackson State title alums and supporters. We were gung-ho about doing whatever you need, coach, right?
Right.
And for good reason. But now he's gone and one of your own is the head coach. My mentality is, if we're willing to do it for Coach Prime, we ought to be willing to do it tenfold for Coach TC Taylor.
Even more so, right? Because he's going
to need it. He's going to need it because when you look at what happened, we got gutted for good reason. It was what it was. We lost over 70 players. All the coaches were gone for the most part. Coach Ricard and Coach Week stayed, and then they eventually phased out. I know Coach Ricard is now in Grambling, but it was 2 coaches from that staff stayed and is still at Jackson State. So for us, our motivation was to do anything we could to help TC Taylor be successful. I want to thank AD Ashley Robinson for his charge. Without saying too much, if you go back to SWAC Media Day, we sat down with AD Robinson, myself and TD, we interviewed him. And he shared something that is absolutely true. When he was getting ready to hire TC Taylor, he called me. Now, I didn't expect him to call me, man. He called me on a Saturday. Kid, what's up, man? What you got going on? He said, hey, he told me what he was looking at. He told me who he was interviewing. I knew who he was looking at as far as interviewing other names. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned Coach Taylor. Mm-hmm. He shared with me his potential coaching staff. He shared with me the recruiting list that he was going after. He was like, man, I want you to look at this and I want you to sleep on it. Call me back tomorrow and tell me what you think. Because he said he trusted my judgment. He wanted to talk to somebody and this is a true story. So I appreciated him for entrusting in me. But I'm going to tell you what I did.
That's a lot to entrust, and that's great.
I got on the phone. I called Zoe and I called Corey. Man, we went to dissecting every freaking coach, every recruit. Man, we were like machines, man. So he announced that Coach TC Taylor is going to be the head coach of Jackson State. He calls me December 10th, made the announcement Tuesday, December 13th. I remember like it was yesterday. And we held a private meeting. I got an invite. I won't say who all was there. I'll just remind you of something. You remember that photo where Coach TC Taylor takes a photo with Cam Newton? So if you go back to that, well, we met at Cam Newton Cigar Bar in Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. Okay. And all I will say is that I was given a charge. He was like, Ken, I want you to make sure the media doesn't take a hit. And I was like, okay, well, I got somebody that you can hire. And there's a guy named Austin Robinson, ASVP Visual. This dude is doing great work. We need to hire this dude. And I don't take credit for that, but I know Austin does a great job for us with football media. But my point is, we have an AD that had a vision and trusted the people around him. And he hired one of our own. And his charge was, this guy is us. This guy is one of our own. Whatever you were willing to do for anyone else, you ought to be willing to do everything to make sure that this guy is successful. So he charged everybody in that room with this thing saying, hey, it's on us to make sure that we do everything we can to help Coach Taylor. So our mentality is this. Coach gets to just go coach and be great, and everybody else needs to do their part as far as fans, support, come out, buy tickets, donate, whatever that is. So that's the motivation behind helping Coach Taylor and why he motivates us as well.
Man, that's some great behind-the-scenes action there, man. And I did not know, and I appreciate you sharing about it. But look, man, I had a buddy of mine. I was talking to him. Look, I started Saints News Network back in 2006. Right before, it was the day before Reggie Bush was going to be drafted because they went ahead and they hired, the Texans decided they were going to go Mario Williams. And when I said, hell, Saints going to pick up Reggie Bush. I bought 3 domains, DeuceandReggie.com, SaintsNews.net, because I couldn't get SaintsNews.com. Someone else had that. And I forgot the other one. It was something Saints related. That's how I started Saints News Network. Based upon what you said earlier about what you felt the coverage of the Clarion wasn't giving, I felt the coverage wasn't giving that to our players, and they were being unfair to our players, especially our black players in the state of Louisiana as well. That's just my opinion, guys, and I stand on it. So long story short, my buddy told me this, man. He said, look, we're friends. We're supposed to take care of each other. If we're not friends, then we're not going to be taking care of each other. But if you have a product, you have a service, I should be willing to pay you first before anybody else.
That's what it should be. Right.
Right. And I said, man, you're right. And I didn't really think about it, but there's so much animosity sometimes when we see other people have this or someone has that. Now, you got this foolishness now when people are looking at the numbers. Oh, they got this X many thousand people following. Oh, there's X many people doing X, Y, Z. It doesn't matter. What about the quality? What are you bringing to the table? What are you doing for the people? And that's what you guys have been doing so well over at KC 1400 is you're engaging the people, you're informing the people, you're letting them have a voice, you're letting them engage with one another as well, but also you're allowing the administration to be able to engage with you guys as well as your fans. And it's really coming to the forefront to show people this is how we do it, and this is how we support one another. There's a reason why Jackson State continuously will be at the top of the FCS as far as fans filling the stadium, right? Fans supporting the brand. That's the important thing, and that's what I love, what I see from what you guys are doing. But when you took it one step further to be able to begin the collective, that's what I really highly respected in what you were doing, Ken. And I'm just going to tell you this. When Mr. Morgan sat next to you and you asked why the collective was important to him, and he went to explain why, I said, wow, that's powerful. And he said, if the guys need to get something to eat or get their car fixed or something to that nature, you guys are there. And that's what we need to have more of around all of our HBCUs. So I applaud you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I could say so much about that. I think it's a life's mission now. I want to thank Miss Rochelle, actually, because I was being hard-headed, Cal. I wanted to do everything through an LLC, and she was like, you need to get a foundation. You're doing nonprofit work, and you don't have a nonprofit. And she was like, people are not going to continue to donate at the clip that you need them to be effective if you're not giving them tax breaks for their donations. So my response was, okay, I don't know how to do that. You do it. She has a foundation, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and she did it, and man, it was beautiful. We celebrated after that, and I got to be honest with you. Even when we got our foundation, our 501c3 fundraising charity foundation, which is Friends of KC 1400 Inc. KC 1400 Collective is technically Friends of KC 1400 Inc.
Okay,
it's our foundation. It's basically a DBA. It's used as a name to. It's basically a DBA, but you can't even pay KC 1400 Collective. It goes through our foundation, and the beauty of it is that we do have a real mission. It's not just paying athletes; it's filling in the gaps wherever it's needed. We've done student fees. We've bought beds for athletes. We've partnered with local grocery stores and took pallets of water to the team, a couple of pallets each month. It's fun stuff like that. We've done travel toiletries. It's all done through the people. KC 1400 is a family, man. It's the fans, it's the supporters, and we do nothing without our supporters. As far as the collective, though, the collective is something that we started doing in 2023 when Coach TC Taylor first became the head coach. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think KC 1400 KC 1400 collective is just framework. It's just structure. Okay. Same as the KC 1400 media, as I shared with you. Man, this is just a YouTube channel, right? When you start executing at a high level, and me being an entrepreneur and salesman and father of an entrepreneur, a brother of an entrepreneur, and I've been around and I've seen it, and I've avoided it, Cal. I've avoided it like the plague, man. I was like, I'm good just being a great, worker. I pride myself working for a great company, Fortune 500, becoming a great manager, elevate to the top, became a senior manager at for Mr. Walden. I'll just leave it at that. And then, it took me places, right? Yeah. But why a collective? I'm gonna tell you why. There's a guy by the name of Ed O'Bannon. If you remember Ed O'Bannon.
Yeah.
UCLA basketball.
He got it all started, didn't he?
So I was playing basketball at a junior college, Holmes Community College, before I'm not a football player. I just look like one. I played basketball all my life. Jackson is technically a basketball city.
Right.
But when I went to JUCO to play basketball, because I just wanted to follow the game and try to go as far as I could with it, Cal, I was broke, man. It was being a college student, a college athlete, and the demand that's required to be a college athlete. I'm talking about the demand of time. I was talking to an athlete. Right. I was talking to an athlete today. I was like, y'all off for the day? And he looked at me and said, off. Man, we ain't done until like 8 p.m. I was like, dang. So I was like, you know what? My bad, brother. My dad used to give me $40 a week. And for anyone, I've told this story. I got married when I was in college. I was a sophomore in college. Okay. I got married as a young man, bro. So yeah. Yeah, we're gonna leave. Man. We'll leave that right there. We'll leave that right there, right? All right. But man, I was broke, man. I was broke. And my dad used to give me $40 a week. And I used to say that for gas money because Goodman, Mississippi, in JUCO, if you weren't out of state, you had to go home that weekend. You couldn't stay on campus that weekend. You had to go home. Wow. I don't know if they still do that or not. But you got your meal plan. You would eat 3 meals a day. You eat your breakfast, your lunch.
How far were you from Jackson?
45 minutes, maybe 45, 50 minutes, depending on how fast you're driving. Right under an hour. Okay. But I save that money for gas money. But like Coach O would say often, you don't have any money left over, man. If you don't have, but you think about a Division I college. A lot of these kids aren't from Jackson. Their families are miles away, right? And if they live off campus, and the coaches got them in a great setup. But to not get lost in that, 20-something years later passes, man. They passed this legislation of name, image, and likeness. And I'm all over it. I'm studying this like, man, I'm trying to take a test on it because I'm so intrigued by this because, Kyle, this is why I gave up basketball. I literally retired after my sophomore season. I had 3 opportunities to finish playing ball, but it was mostly like D3 and D2 schools. I could have played at Mississippi College, but I wanted to go to Jackson State, man. So I sat out a year. I went to work full time. I told my dad, I almost quit my sophomore season, man. We wound up winning the state championship. I just told my dad, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, man. I'm not going pro in basketball, man. I fell out of love with the game because the game wasn't fun anymore. It became a job that I wasn't getting paid for. Okay. And that is why when I was so intrigued at that time when Ed O'Bannon was trying to challenge the United States government, that student, we're being basically, man, we out here giving all of our time and I can't even get a sandwich without losing my eligibility.
Free labor. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So 20 years passed by, man, and they give us this legislation because this is 2020. 2022. No, 2001. I'm sorry. It's 2001, 2002. I'm in junior college.
When he
And here
first
it is.
filed this lawsuit, was it 2016 or 17 or something to that nature?
Oh no, it was before that.
Yeah, I thought
It was
so.
before that.
It was because
It was before
like
that.
people were
Well,
all
he might
extremely alarmed at that time. But go ahead. I'm
he
sorry.
might have came back later and did something, but the conversation started 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. And I remember that vividly because I was playing ball and because I was following a lot of the, Tyus Edney hit the shot, and you got Ed O'Bannon and the O'Bannon brothers. Like, this is during our era playing ball, man, for me. So you fast forward, we're on Tiger Talk, and we're talking about it. Myself, D. Corey C, Shaq, Mike B, and Zoe, and we're just like, man, this is crazy. So I said that to say this. Coach Taylor leaves. I mean, not Coach Taylor. Coach Prime leaves. We're bleeding players. We're bleeding players. We're just running out of bodies, right? We started doing some NIL deals through KC 1400 Media in 2023 and 2024. So the first year, nobody knew about it. We did 7 deals with all football players. And these were our top athletes that were on the team that stayed. There were some of the guys like Devontae Davis and Isaiah Guthrie and Tony O'Doyle and these type names, Niles Gadd. These are some of the names that we did. We signed brand deals with 2024. We expanded to like 19, 20 athletes in other sports. We went to track. We did more football players. We did 9 women's basketball players. And now we're doing some stuff publicly,
Right.
But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be quick when I say this. The first year, nothing was shared. We were just paying money, and we were doing it legally, and we had contracts, and they were on the books, but nobody knew about it, just through our private chats and through our way of doing initiatives. Man, in 2024, most of those deals were way less money, and we started advertising it. And we had players that were like, man, I didn't get no photo. Because I was like, wait a minute, man, I'm sorry you didn't get a photo. You got paid way more money, though. They was like, man, okay, I want that,
They want the photo out.
Yeah. So I started watching what was happening around us. We're in the state of Mississippi. And I'm going to just tell you this now. One of the most comprehensive collectives I've ever seen to date is the Grove Collective by Ole Miss. Grove Collective is unbelievable, man. They doing some things over there. Not, they're not paying me for this plug, by the way. I'm just saying, I followed them.
As well as the one for the University of Texas and the other one for A&M. Those very deep pockets.
Woo. And it's now Ole Miss don't probably have nearly as much money as Texas A&M in Texas, probably, but I'll say just from the framework of what they're doing, why it mattered for us is because they're in the state of Mississippi. So the laws and regulations that fit within the state were more attracted to study what they were doing, because we knew if they were doing it, it could be done.
Okay.
I looked at On to Victory with Auburn. Shout out to Blue, who went to Auburn. And he shared that link as we were studying, as I was trying to navigate some things. I looked at Wheat Shot Collective with Wichita State, as well as Kansas State, because of one of our supporters, Willie Tucker. He lives in Wichita. So he was sharing that. And then I looked at USM, To the Top Collective. And I was like, you know what? We're going to roll out an official collective, man. We launched this thing in 2025. We actually launched it late 2024. And my mentality was, if they can do it, we can do it. And if we want to really compete, we have to create a framework and a something that our fans could get behind. Now, there is going to come a learning curve and an education curve, because our people don't really. I'm not gonna say we don't know that, but that's not a lane that we've been in very long. The big boys have been in this game for a long time, Kyle. They just got legislation and they got a different way. They're no longer dropping off the duffel bags anymore, man. They're just doing it a little bit more
none
legally
of those
now.
paper bags and all this
Nah,
stuff. Find
mama and
something
daddy
over there.
mysteriously getting jobs in the town that they don't qualify for. It ain't none of that.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's but I'll leave it at that. But that's kind of the origin of that, man. It was birthed out of a passion and understanding as a former college athlete what it's like to just simply be broke.
yeah.
Yet give all your time to a sport. So it does
But
pain me though to not have enough resources because I would love to put everybody on a deal,
yeah,
but we just got to continue to
what
um,
that's the
spread
next
the message.
that's what I wanted to know. How do you
Okay, go
spread
ahead.
the message, and how do people get involved? Tell the people right now.
Well, the simplest way is to go to our website. I made it a one-stop shop through our partners, um, and I want to say this. I want to shout out Jason Hall, who is a partner of ours. He's a FAMU alum. Jason has been our merch partner with Merch Pack. He's also helped design a lot of our graphics as well as our website. I don't gatekeep information, man. I don't
Okay,
because
good.
Kyle, I'm a man of faith, and I just believe that what's for me you can't have. What's for you I can't have. I'm gonna have what's for me. You're gonna have what's for you. I don't have to hide it behind my back to stop you from getting it. It was hard getting this information, man, because there are so many people that gatekeep information. But I got my
Yeah,
hands on
yeah,
documentation. I got my hands on contracts, and I wrote these contracts myself after looking at not per se to myself, but more so out of other agreements and taking them to legal teams and let them look at it and checked all the boxes on that and made it as authentic as possible. And the beautiful thing about what we do, Kyle, is all tied to our media company, KC 1400 Media. We have a brand. The KC 1400 brand is a brand. It's a real thing. And if we don't believe in it, then it's not about what you believe in. It's about what we believe in it and our ability to sell you on it. But the simplest
okay,
way for those to support it is to go to the website, www.kc1400collective.com. On there, you will see all the different levels, the different tiers. If you don't want to sign up for a subscription and you can simply donate via Givelify. In order to get on Givelify, you have to have a foundation. So if you didn't want to do any of that, you wanted to just write a check, we show you how you could write the check, make it out to Friends of KC, mail it to this address. If you have inquiries, you can email us at friendsofkc1400 at Gmail. But that's the simplest way, man. I got to be honest with you. I'm not man, this social media drives you nuts, man, with all the different posts and the different pages. I have a media page, I got a personal page, and I got a collective page, and it's like, man, so social media marketing, word of mouth, private chats, those who have supported, they have networks. It's grassroots, man. And now we're proud to say that we do have a meeting with the university coming up here shortly. And we're excited to go sit down with the university and just talk about how we can be a greater partner of the university and figure out some creative ways that we can partner with the university through messaging. We're here to serve Jackson State University, man. We're not attached to the university that way, but we are
you are.
this
Yeah,
way,
no, yeah,
this
you
way.
are.
It's shit hard. It's shit hard at work,
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I'm so thankful for AD Robinson and in the administration at the university who has endorsed us and has gotten behind us and all of the supporters. We eclipsed over 500 signups this year, Kyle.
Well, you did good
We're
because I
so
know
proud.
that
We're
was a
so
part of
proud of
your
that.
drive, trying to get that number
Yes.
up, right?
500 now in 2026 we have a goal of 1,000, so it doesn't sound like a lot, but believe it or not, man, what we preach and what we exemplify at KC 1400 is group economics and the power of it. It doesn't take everyone to do a lot. It only takes a lot to do just a little bit, and if everyone does a little bit, we can go very far. I do
Yeah.
understand that it is a very competitive space in the HBCU space because we have pride, but one of the things that we're trying to exemplify is that within our own community, collaboration is effective. It works, and I've been giving the game away for free, and now I understand that folks want to I don't know what they're doing. Well, have you reached out? We've made ourselves available. Now next year, Kyle, is gonna cost them. I'm gonna have to go. I got taxi next year, man. I've been talking for free for a year, man. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
But
time
now
to,
we
you need a
man, we have
consulting.
a
Just look at it as a consulting fee,
it's a
right?
consulting fee, without question. You know, so I've sat down with I've had conversations with some alums, Johnson C. Smith. I've even talked to I won't mention some of the D1 schools because they not out there. But one of the things is not just about, it's not even just about donors because you get donor fatigue within a small group. Now it's about going out and really starting to build brands and partnerships. And that's where the beautiful thing of the board and the foundation. I want to shout out my brother, Kevin T. Wilbert, who is a partner with the foundation. We call him KT Dub. Of course, TD is my partner on KC 1400 Media and on camera. But Miss Rochelle, Kevin, and the board. But Kevin is never out in front. He's behind the scenes, and he's not even a JSU alum, but you couldn't tell him that because of the way he pounds the pavement and the man, and the way he has just poured into what it is that we're doing. It's just been masterful, man. And that's how you know when God is blessing a movement, because he sends the right people, and we have the right people and the right team to get this thing rolling. And man, we've been getting some partnerships. And we're rolling now, man. Now it's just about growth and scale. Go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully we could be able to help you guys out. We can't get involved financially due to our media constraints here, but we can be able to get the word out to the nation, right?
That is.
And that's the most important thing. All right, before we get off, man, let's talk some football. Let's talk about what's about to happen this fall. Let's talk about all those people that y'all putting on the All-American teams, left and right. This coach they'll call T.C. Taylor. Somebody thinks he's still the greatest coach out there for HBCUs.
Yeah.
Man, this is an exciting season. Man, I remember seeing you on the field at the Celebration Bowl just overdone. Man,
I had tears in my eyes, man.
Yeah.
We went through some stuff, man. Oh, man. What a time.
That was a great time to see all of you guys just rejoicing. Of course, when it comes to now 2025, you guys are being hunted. And people are wanting to take that title away.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks like the Jackson State Tigers are primed and ready to be able to come and repeat this season.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Well, one of the biggest things is what Coach Taylor said, along with having a great program that he and his staff have put together, have instilled at Jackson State, having some immediate success in year 2, winning the national championship. He gave a lot of credit to the work that we're doing collectively and helping to keep those big time players there. We lost some players. We did have some turnover from that team. We lost some players due to graduation and expiration of eligibility. However, we got a lot of those big time players back. And when it starts in the quarterback room, Jacoby and Morgan, the general,
that was huge, I believe, right?
Yeah. Having Jacoby back with preseason offensive SWAC offensive player of the year. I gave him a personal challenge, and my slogan to Jacobin is, "It ain't good enough." I'm hard on him because I see greatness in the young brother, and like I told him, I said, just being the best quarterback in the SWAC ain't good enough. Being the best quarterback in HBCU football is not good enough. When we talk about when you want to get on those boards with the Sam Herders and those top FCS polls, you want to be in that top 5 of the best quarterbacks in FCS. That's when the pros will come really calling and looking and really giving you a real shot at getting on the roster. Now,
and when I looked at the reports today, the pros are already peeping what's happening at Jackson State. 2 NFL teams were scouting
Buffalo Bills,
you guys out, right?
Buffalo Bills and the Las Vegas Raiders were at camp this week. More teams to be expected. Had some really good reports. They complimented the way our players look. Kyle, we understand, man. Heavy is he who wears the crown, man, and we're at the top of the food chain. And now it's about chasing greatness. We have a slogan. You hear A.D. Robinson say it all the time: building on tradition blazing new trails. When you are a trailblazer, that means that there isn't a path carved out for you. You got to go carve it out yourself. So now it comes down to not believing the hype, not getting caught up into all of the. We got a great team, man, and I'm telling you, this team is just, if not more talented than last year's team. I would even go on to say more talented.
Yeah,
But
look,
the
you guys
challenge
did a
is going
great
to
job.
be up here.
Yeah, Coach Taylor and his staff did a great job recruiting. You guys also put a great job together installing the necessary infrastructure for those young people to be able to stay and want to be a part of that program. Great. All right, let's move on. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, now I just wanted to say real quick, when you look at the team overall, you look at 3 returning players on the offensive line that got major snaps. Starting quarterback, we have a very deep running back room, an extremely deep wide receiver room. You bring back your starting tight end. You bring back your best defensive lineman, Jeremiah Williams, and we have a core of guys on the front line. You bring back your linebackers. You turn over on the back end, but you bring back some experience. You get Shamar Hawkins back, and you got some budding freshmen, and we retain the majority of our staff. That's going to be the key of us having the success that we need to have. And what happens when to hunt it starts hunting those that are hunting them? That's all I want to say. I had to say that, Kyle. All right, let's go. You say you hunt us. What happens when we come hunting for you?
I hear you, man. Coach O, I love Coach O. Everybody loves Coach O, man.
Yes, sir.
Got to give him a shout out. We'll talk about him a little bit later, but one thing I would like to say, guys, if y'all haven't heard of Travis Terrell, if you haven't heard of Nate Rimbert, you haven't heard of Mr. Fortillion, you will hear a lot about these young guys this coming fall. You know, Nate Rimbert was the prize transfer that you guys got, but also that's a man that came from PV that's landed into there. And I saw him as a freshman take over a game for PV against Texas Southern, man. So Mr. Savage, he is a savage. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Okay, let's talk about what's happening. Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
Shedeur Sanders.
All right.
A lot of people have been making much to do about what's happening with the 144th pick from the 2025 NFL draft. My thoughts are, hey, just give him that opportunity. That's all Coach Rob used to always say about Doug Williams. If you gave him that opportunity, he'll show you what he can do. And I think now, we don't know how it's going to play out in Cleveland. It's preseason. Of course, they're trying to anoint Joe Flacco as the starter. But how do you and the Jackson faithful, the people who do support Shedeur and the Sanders families, how do you guys see this start on Friday night?
Cal, I think I actually tweeted. I tweeted Shedeur and I said, the entire city of Jackson State, Tiger Nation, Colorado Nation, everybody that supports him and loves him, everybody will be tuned in. I'm telling you right now that there will be record number of viewers for this game.
That's what I said. Yeah.
They're going to break a record, man. That young man is special. What's for you can't be denied. I thought it was absolute hogwash that he fell to the 5th round, but I was relieved and happy because, man, I was in pain. I watched the draft every single year from pick 1 all the way to Mr. Irrelevant. Mm-hmm. And I was in agony, man. I was so thrown off at the end of day 2. I was so bothered, man. I really love Shedeur. I've been a fan of this young man for the longest. I followed him since he was literally a 9th grader at Trinity Christian. And I mean that. But he is a special talent, man. I think he's going to prove, I think they're playing whatever that is. And I do feel like they have a plan. I do not feel like, Cal, that Dylan Gabriel, I do not feel like Kenny Pickett. I don't feel like, some may make the case that this is kind of him being set up to fail. Nah, if they're banged up, the universe has a way of always correcting certain things at times, man. And you can the
I'm glad you
inevitable will
said that.
show itself.
Yeah,
And I
I'm glad you
firmly
said that.
believe that Shador is going to have a monster game. I just believe he's gonna go out there and do what he's been doing. He's gonna go out there and do what he's always done. And that is he's built for this moment, and I think he's gonna shine. And what this is a question I have for you, and you have this rhetorical question. What is Cleveland gonna do when Shador goes out there and proves that he should be QB1 on day one for the Cleveland Browns and not Joe Flacco?
See,
Then they're gonna have a decision to have to
I'm
make.
gonna answer the
Go ahead.
question in a different way. Cleveland
All right,
doesn't have an idea.
We all know that.
That's all I'm gonna say, guys. They don't have a clue. And I'm telling you, man, if you look at the press conference that the owner had,
oh my God,
that one right there was so telling. You look at what Greer said, right? When he was talking about the speeding ticket and saying dumb. Why would you say that? You know, sometimes those words and those thoughts come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Sometimes those things come back to haunt you. And we can't see it now. You never can really see what's going to happen in the future. You just have to keep your faith. And he comes from a family of faith, especially with his father.
And he's confident, man.
And he's a confident young man. Right.
He is. And that offends a lot of people who don't like the people that look like us. And they stop acting like, I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be controversial. I just think it's annoying when people get more bothered by me saying that there are people that don't like what you and I look like. They're bothered by it just off sight. However, it's not as bad as us having to deal with people not liking us just because of what we look like. Hey, I'm saying it and living it. It's a part of it. Yeah, so it's a part when you see a young brother like that, man, that's confident like that, and he's just handling it with precision, and man, I just keep doing what he's doing. I love that he told his dad, "Hey, Dad, don't worry about coming to camp. Let me fight this battle over here alone." And Dion has his own things that he's dealing with. I'm happy that he's healthy, but man, I can't do. Look, Kyle, don't call me nobody at 6 p.m. On Friday night. I'm just telling you, I'm not answering the phone. I'm not responding to no text message. I'm locked in on watching the Cleveland Browns, by the way. Come on, man. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Of all the teams to have to look at. Okay.
Yeah, look, I've been there with my days with the Saints. That NFC Championship game against the Vikings. Everybody leave me alone. Let me watch my big screen. I sat on my sofa. I didn't want to report on nothing. I just wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Are you going to Miami? No. It'll be too much for me. I need to sit on my sofa and watch.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, man. Just look, I think a lot of people, even the people who weren't avid football supporters and fans, are supporting Shador Sanders.
Yeah.
Women. I had a cousin. Her husband played NFL football. She hates NFL football, but she was calling me during the draft. Have they drafted him yet? Have they drafted him yet? They wanted to know what was happening with Shador Sanders. All right. Travis Hunter, of course, another HBCU alum from Jackson State University. Man, much blessings to him. The Heisman Trophy winner. He's looking good in camp already. First string wide receiver, very athletic. We knew that, right? As a freshman, he should have been a Heisman candidate at that time. So Jackson State is being represented in the pros. They're being represented down, of course, in HBCU. Then you have Tamika Reed, and she's doing over at UNC Charlotte. And you have the reach of Jackson State is reaching. And I keep on telling people that. You have to look at the talent it's kind of infectious, like it's going viral across the nation right now. And kudos to Ashley Robinson. Kudos to his staff. Kudos to everybody, as well as in the administration now that is supporting the athletic department the way they should be doing. Okay, Ken, any final words right now before we sign off?
No, just thank you again for reaching out, man. It's always good when you are doing work that others can see. We don't do it for the shine. We do it, we grind so that the players can get their shine and they're able to do what they need to do. And our university can shine in a great light. And I just want to take this time to thank everyone who has poured into the mission, every donor, every subscriber of the channel, everyone that has supported us over these past 3 to 4 years. And man, we're just getting started. I just want to take this time to publicly tell them thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. And I represent a group of a major whole. You know what I mean? Myself, Toronte Day, Kevin Wilbert, Rochelle Henderson, and Marcus Williams, and all of those that are on the board, all of my family and friends that are supporting what we're doing. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, you can find us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, live, KC 1400 Media on YouTube. And you can also follow us at KC1400MG on Twitter as well as Instagram. And you can even find us on Facebook now. I'm telling you, I'm exhausted with this social media stuff. But Kyle, I appreciate the opportunity to speak, man. It's a lot to say in a very short period of time. But if in all sincerity, if there really is some even a university that really wants to try to get something off the ground in the form of any type of work that we're doing, I wouldn't mind sitting down with them and talking to them. So
Right.
there you have it. Appreciate it. And go Tigers.
Look, man, you said
Oh yeah,
everything I wanted to.
one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
In Hampton, you're on the clock.
All right, now, Jackson State has never beat the Pirates before. So.
We 0-3. I've heard it all. Trust me when I tell you, I've heard it all. Some of our partners with Greenwood Whiskey, collective partnership with a bottle with them. They are Hampton
Talk about
grads,
that, man.
man.
That partnership is very important. Just
Oh yeah.
briefly, can talk to us about
Well,
that.
real quick, young brother Greg Rush, one of the owners partners of Great Greenwood Whiskey, contacted me via email by way of an alum that lives in the Atlanta area. It's black-owned whiskey. The name is centered around the Greenwood District, Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you know the history of that, you know that. And I thought it was the synergy was there. Something we wanted to do because we saw the Grove doing it. We was like, why not? And now. Man, we broke a record, man, in the day's time. Right now it's
Really?
showing out of stock. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
First day we had a 200 bottle allotment. We did that in the first day, man, because we had built up the momentum. But I just want to say I appreciate them. It's a big group of owners out of the Atlanta area, and a lot of them are Hampton grads. Some of the guys went to Tuskegee, so we're gonna have a wave of them popping up in the city of Jackson when we play Hampton on August the 30th. And also when we play Tuskegee on September the 13th. So, but that partnership is great because it allows us to go into another lane. A portion of the proceeds of that bottle pours back into the collective. Once we hit a threshold, they'll send us our portion and we're able to put that in the foundation to be able to do and operate as we need. So,
Awesome.
Great partnership. And last thing, we do have a partnership with Cathead, a local vodka company, Cathead Distillery in the city of Jackson. They're in 37 states. But Cathead is locally in the city of Jackson. We will do a live show August 29th at Cathead Distillery. You can't buy this one online. You got to come pull up. We're going to have a whole half a pallet available at a great price point. And you come in and it's kind of going to be like a live pep rally. Myself, TD, and the crew will be on the scene at Cathead on August 29th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can come in and get your collab Cathead Vodka / KC 1400 collab edition.
All
So good stuff, man. Thank you for letting me plug that.
Hey, man, that's some great stuff. You guys need to support. You heard Ken. Everything is going to be out there. So help support him. Help support KC 1400, the collective, everything, but also support the Tigers. And one way you guys can support the Tigers is being in the stands.
Yes.
Please go and support the Tigers and help them out. I mean, being a part of the vet is just a great experience.
Nothing like it, man.
And when they
Nothing
do
I can't wait.
JSU Rocks You, I got to say this, man. And I played in the band when I was in high school in New Orleans. So I was at
Which high school was that?
McDonald 35.
McDonald 35. I got good
Yeah.
friends that went to McDonald 35.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was drum major and everything, man. So,
wow.
But I'm say this, man. I loved it. I think it was when you guys played Prairie View in 2021, that SWAC championship, and it was right after James Houston made that
caught the interception on
that interception for the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
When the band started playing JSU Rocks You, it's nothing like it, guys. I don't care. I've been in many a stadium. I've been D1, all those stadiums. When I heard that, I was like, wow. Man. When they play that, you're in trouble. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, man. All right, when you hear those, yeah, you know what's
trouble,
coming.
Baby. You're in trouble. All right.
Appreciate you, Kyle. Go Tigers.
Yeah, look, follow Ken and those guys, and also follow, of course, Jackson State. I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. Ken always tell everybody, I'm like Bernie Mac. You're family now. You can't get rid of me. And
there you go, man. All love, brother.
This together, okay? And
yes, sir.
Go follow us at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as KTMOZE. That's myself, Kyle T. Mosley, on also social media platforms as well. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be airing this one, and I'm sure a lot of the Jackson State faithful are going to be ready to hear what Ken has to say. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you, Ken. Hi, I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends, as well as the Black Sports Insiders. And we love to be able to bring you guys the legendary figures in sports as well as entertainment. And we have a good one for you guys today. This young man has been known for being one of the best SIDs in college sports. He also led the sports SID organization, but also he's been involved with college athletics as a great communicator for such a long time. He's published his works in like Slam magazine, the Philadelphia Inquirer, as well as the Washington Post. But he's also right now a freelance reporter covering HBCU sports, especially women's sports. And you can see him sometimes doing some WNBA sports coverage as well. It's none other than the legend himself, Mr. Rob Knox. How you doing, Rob?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for that intro, man. That intro was fire. So, I appreciate that. You got me feeling like, man,
You are. I mean, look, you've done a lot of work, man. You do your work very well.
Thank
and
you.
I love the fact that now you're doing it on your own. You kind of having fun doing it as far as the coverage of HBCU sports, as well as I see you on the sidelines hanging out with some of those WNBA ladies. I think you were up in Indiana. Was it for the?
No, I didn't make it. I didn't make All-Star this year.
Oh, okay, all right. So, but you usually are there covering and doing a great job. So,
yeah, thank you.
How did it all start for you? Why did you become a journalist?
Man, listen. The funny thing has been, I knew I always wanted to be a journalist ever since I was in middle school.
Really?
Like, I never told this story, but I've always wanted to be a journalist ever since I was in middle school. And when I was supposed to be paying attention to my teachers, I was scribbling stories. I was like making up fictional stories and game stories and stuff like that because I would read the newspaper. And I'm like, one day I'm gonna write something that's going to be in the newspaper. I was like, 6th, 7th grade, and I remember sitting in my 7th grade, one of my 7th grade classes, and I just wrote a whole Monday Night Football script. It was like a Dallas Cowboys and Detroit Lions, and at the time Dallas was always on Monday Night Football. And
all the time.
So I had to open like, hey, this is Howard Cosell, and Frank Gifford and all this other stuff. But yeah, so I just knew that I wanted to be a writer. I always liked to read. I always loved sports. I tried to play sports when I was in middle school and high school, but I played football to my 11th grade year. I broke my wrist. I was a bench warmer. I'm not one of those people that say, I was the greatest in high school and all this other stuff. No, I was a bench warmer, and I knew my role. I knew my talent. Wasn't going to be on the football field, but I knew the game. I was passionate about sports. I'm a diehard Sixers, Eagles, Flyers, and Phillies fan. So growing up outside of Philadelphia, and going to Chester High School and being part of the legendary basketball program at Chester High School, just like kind of just submitted my love for wanting to write. And the fortunate part about being at Chester High and being a manager for the basketball team is we had reporters that covered us consistently. Okay. Like Joe Sanliquido, Mike Jensen, and Terry Toohey, and Bill Doherty. They covered us for, like, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the Delco Times, and stuff like that. And I would always go up to them and say, "Hey, I want to do what you do. I want to do what you do." And I would always read this stuff the next day and stuff like that. So again, I just imagined myself being in the newspaper, and then I just got lucky because I had some proximity. And then I got lucky at Lincoln. That's why I went to undergrad, and Lincoln opened so many doors for me and allowed me so many opportunities, from like being the sports editor of the school newspaper. I had my own I had my own radio spot.
Really?
Yeah. As a freshman, I had my own radio spot, just, a little quick 10-minute sports update, because I was known as a sportsman, even as a freshman. One of my biggest breaks was doing PA announcing for the men's and women's basketball games at Lincoln. Where ultimately I earned the nickname, the Voice of Lincoln, the Voice of LU. And, excuse me, again, when you grow up in Philadelphia, you are familiar with Dave Zinkoff and John McAdams as two of the greatest PA announcers. So for me, it was like, I'm them. And then obviously the Chicago Bulls at the time when I was in college was, the dynasty and stuff like that. So I was like, this is going to be Ray Clay. I'm Ray Clay, and announcing with flair and everything like that. But again, looking back on it, Lincoln gave me so many opportunities. They gave me so many chances. I would write about intramural games that we had between the residence halls, and the guys look forward to it. The campus look forward to, okay, what Rob going to say? It was like, what Rob going to say, or what Rob say, or whatever like that. So, it was cool. And again, all the while just had an outlet for my passion, which was writing journals. I know that was like a long-winded answer.
No, it's a great answer, because look, man, we always had dreams, but when you're able to have that dream and fulfill the dream, and you're passionate still to this day about it, that's great, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, thank you. And writing is always, I've always been passionate about writing, and I've always been passionate about sports. And, honestly, as I got older, you begin to refine, you begin to learn the power of the pen and the power that you wield, and the way people hang on to your words. And when you talk about dreams coming true, another dream of mine that came true is, I got an opportunity to write for 5 years for my hometown newspaper, the Delaware County Daily Times, outside of Philly. I grew up reading that paper, right? Yeah, I grew up clipping articles out that newspaper for scrapbooks, because I used to do a lot of scrapbooks. And here I am writing for this newspaper. Here I am writing, having a byline, right? But again, that doesn't happen without Lincoln, or that doesn't happen with me reaching out to the reporters that covered us when I was in high school, because I spent the year at Temple and I had to do an internship. Okay. And my internship was at the Philadelphia Inquirer. And that's kind of, I kind of, ran to Don Hunt along the way. And obviously he's a Lincoln grad. And so as a freelance correspondent for the Philadelphia Inquirer for 2 years. And it just so happens that those were the 2 years that Kobe Bryant was still in high school. Yeah, high school. So I got the opportunity to write about Kobe as a junior. Got a chance to, interview him a few times, get to know him, get to know his family, his sisters, back then. So it's just like everything's just like full circle for me. And I never imagined, I thought once I got my job with the Delco Times, I thought that I would be a sports reporter. Well, I guess I am still, but I guess I thought that that would be the only job I would have the rest of my life.
Gotcha.
So I had no idea that my career would take me into so many different pivots. But, sometimes you just never know when or how doors are going to open for you.
That is true. You went from reporting, writing, and then you got into becoming the college sports information director, right? And was it over at Lincoln? Is that where you? Okay, so you went back to your alma mater,
right? And again, that was just a blessing because when I was a student at Lincoln, when I talk about the opportunities, and I'm just scratching the surface of some of the things I did as a student. I mean, like I did so much as a student. You like, well, how did he actually graduate, right? Or did he ever go to class? Because I was a admissions ambassador, I was a tour guide, I was a student leader, I was an RA. So again, in addition to the sports stuff I was doing, right? So now you add on all of these extracurricular activities, but I was doing a lot of sports information work when I was at Lincoln as a student, unbeknownst to me, because we didn't have a full-time SID when I was there. Okay. So, we had a national championship track team. I'm like, man, nobody's promoting this team. Our basketball team is winning and we're winning championships. I'm like, man, nobody's promoting this team, right? Nobody's getting this out. People don't know about it. So I started doing that work. And I also had a good relationship with the athletic administration there, Cyrus Jones, Ryan Etney, Linda Peterson. And obviously they remembered me when it came time to say, you know what, we really need this position, because Lincoln was in the process of trying to do some things. And they're like, we really need this position. We know the perfect person, even though he's working at the newspaper right now. Okay. Let's see if he was willing to come home and do it. And so for me, when you're working at the newspaper, you work with SIDs, right? You work on the other side. They send you the press releases. You talk to them on the phone. Right. And in my arrogant mind, I can do this. This is easy. Right. So I'm like, okay, I can do this, and again, confidently, I knew I could, but the mindset I had at that moment was like, this would be easy work, light work, right? I'm getting paid for nothing. But again, one thing about me is like, when I get into something, I get into passion and I'm passionate about it, it becomes a labor of love. And, it's like, I'm not living to work, and so in Lincoln, there were a lot of opportunities, and because that's my alma mater, we had some really good stories at the time. I really worked and grinded, and I became to enjoy it. I leaned on people in the business. I asked questions. Because obviously, when you come from a newspaper to SID, you don't know what you don't know. So ultimately, at the end of the day, man, I said, I reached out to people. I asked questions, and you can never be afraid to ask questions. You can never be afraid to speak up. I don't have all the answers. Still don't have all the answers. Right. And in Lincoln in 5 years, we were able to get. I got a student athletes featured in Sports Illustrated.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I had 5 student athletes featured in Sports Illustrated, which was at the time a huge deal because Sports Illustrated came out every week, and you had the faces in the crowd, and that was something when you work at a Division III school. That was kind of like the holy grail, of stuff. And, I was able to have relationships with the Philadelphia area media. So I was able to get us, in the Tribune, the Enquirer, and, get us a lot of media coverage back then.
In doing that, Rob, what did that do for the whole athletic department?
So it helped. It helped with visibility. It helped bring a level of awareness to the wonderful student athletes we had, but even also helped the university, right? It allowed people again to know that Lincoln is this hidden gem in Southern Chester County. Yeah, I mean the history of Lincoln is amazing, right? The first historically Black college, university, Thurgood Marshall, Langston Hughes are among some of the graduates from there, and Lincoln's had some head estates and things of that nature, right? So the history is there, but sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. And so with athletics, with doing a lot of that, athletics allowed us to open those doors and again help people understand that this hidden gem is here. And I got lucky, right? I got gifted, with some really tremendous stories and some really awesome student athletes.
Now, what are some of those great stories though?
Yeah. So, I start with Ashley Parker, who was our Woman of the Year finalist in 2009 from the NCAA. She turned out she was the first Woman of the Year finalist from a historically Black college or university for the NCAA's Woman of the Year. So she was one of 9 finalists that went to the NCAA, and we were still Division III at the time. So she was one of 3 from Division III across the country. Okay. As a finalist, and to go through that with her, and the things that I remember about it is just now mind you, obviously she did most of the work. So I don't, I never like to sit here and take credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only credit I take is I brought her name up in the meeting, right? I said, I think that she would be I think she'd be a perfect ambassador for us. And then once I talked to her and we worked together on her essays and things like that. But again, she had the words. I didn't have to do much of anything. Okay. And, we submitted it, myself and Natasha Wilson, who was our SWA at the time. We were both kind of tag teaming it and working with Ashley throughout the whole process. And then just to continue to get those emails and say, hey, she's top 30. Hey, she's top 9 now. And when it was like top 9, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was just, it was like, at that point, it was like real and surreal. Then the NCAA came to campus and they did a whole production, a feature on, Ashley for the wow. for the because they had to do a feature for the awards event in Indy. Now, I didn't go to Indy because I think it was like her coach and Tasha went. I think it was like the representatives from Link, which I was okay with. But what surprised me was when Ashley came back, she brought me a postcard back from Indianapolis. That's something that really, that sticks with me because of just the journey. And just her story, right? She's just one of many. We had a young lady, Shonda Jackson, who I ended up, being inducted to the Hall of Fame with. We were in the same class.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Shonda was a phenomenal sprinter. I mean, she's one of the best in Lincoln history. And, she was a national champion, indoor and outdoor. And, just getting to know her and learn her story, just, coming from East Orange. So, I mean, we just had tremendous stories there. And, at the time, our men's basketball team advanced to back-to-back Sweet 16 in the NCAA Division III tournament for the first time in school history. So we were just doing some really cool things that hadn't happened in a while, and then we were trying to. Then towards the end of my Lincoln tenure, we began to transition from Division III to Division II into the CIAA, and again, that's something that I take pride in helping them and being part of that process, because the president of the university and the VP of student enrollment, they specifically asked for my assistance.
Okay. Awesome.
And that was based because of the job that, the job that I had been doing. So I remember, being in those offices late nights with them as we organized the application packet, as we organized, they're like, hey, we need your files. We need you to get this together. I mean, they gave me a list of stuff. And I'll never forget my VP. We left our president's office and my VP just looked at me like, yeah, president loads you down, huh?
Got you on the hook, man. Well, look, that happens, but everything I feel when you have those type of experiences kind of build you up to where you are today, and you can be able to pass on some good advice, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times being a sports journalist or reporter, whatever you want to say, they look at it and say, oh man, that's so cool. But it takes a lot of work. If you had something to be able to offer to these young people today, Rob, in talking about the craft, the business, what would you start them off and give them a couple of nuggets of what to expect being in this line of work?
Yeah, well, I definitely say it's hard. I would say that the easiest part is actual writing. That's just me. But no, you gotta be curious. I think that's like the biggest thing. You gotta be curious. You gotta be observant. A lot of be
able to want it. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I tell my son this: you got to ask the why. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to ask that question. If you just take everything as, like, oh, that's surface answer, there's always a reason why something happens. So I apologize.
No, you're fine. No, and I mean that part is important, right? But I've always gone in with the mindset of writing about people. And I feel like every person has a really interesting story. And I think that stemmed from when I was at the Delaware County Times. I covered predominantly high school. I mean, they let me out to do some colleges and some pro stuff or whatever like that. But I was pretty much high school, right? I was a high school boys and girls soccer reporter, high school boys basketball, and high school boys track. Okay. And again, so when you do that, you're writing about high school kids. So you're not going to write about a high school kid critically the way you would say a Joel Embiid or Paul George or Tyrese Maxey, right? So, you start there. So I think the biggest thing is, obviously having an open mind, being curious, being observant, being willing to listen. Like if you listen to people, you get a lot of good stuff. But also building relationships when you're able to. And I think that's the one thing that's helped me, especially now with covering the WNBA from time to time, and then covering HBCU women's basketball, is just the relationships and talking to coaches and talking to players. And, I may not be physically at the games, but I know what's going on because, I talk to the coaches and pay attention to the box scores. And I do watch a lot of them. I have the streaming service for the, ESPN Plus, Flow Sports, so I can watch some of these games. But yeah, I'll say the other thing is, like, when you go to write, think through how you want the story to come across. And again, I think that there's a segment of people out there that think journalism is just gotcha. Angel Reese missed all these shots. Oh, gotcha. Or Caitlin Clark missed all these 3-pointers. Gotcha, right? Yeah. But it's so much more than that, right? I mean, what about the impact that they're having? Not those two specifically, right? Although both of them are doing phenomenal things off the court,
right?
But what about the impact somebody's having in somebody else's life? What about their journey, right? What about who inspired them? How are they honoring the people in their lives? Because I think that people we're nosy. And we want to know about their lives, like away from the court. I mean, yeah, if they do something phenomenal on the court, yeah, you're going to, report it. And then in the case of the WNBA, you are going to be, there's a level of critical feedback that's needed and necessary and provides context and nuance. But I think overall, just writing, when you be passionate, listen, curious, and observant, you have those 4 things in your toolbox. You could pretty much bring anything to life, and always show instead of telling in your writing.
Show instead of telling. Explain that one.
Yeah, and I think at times we're guilty of it, right? I can sit here and say that Rob Knox is excited to talk to Kyle Mosley. Okay.
Right.
You told me that. How do I show that? Right. So, like, as Rob spoke with Kyle, he was animated. His voice was X, Y, and Z. He moved his head. He couldn't stop talking and blah, blah, blah. And now when you put that description in those pictures, in those words, instead of me telling you I'm excited, I'm showing you that I'm excited.
That's great, man. That's great.
Thank you.
When I joined SI as a partner, and one of the guys, his name was Mike Fisher, he gave a great analogy. And he said, the guys who wrote about President Kennedy's death, they were in the hospital. And he said what gave the story life wasn't just JFK expired at this. He said those guys described the hospital door, the type of paint that was on the wall, how Jackie O's her clothing was looking and tattered a little bit, how she had scraped on her knee and all. And he went into those type of details. He said, so those things are, people may not think it's important to the story, but it helps build the story. And like you said, show the story.
Yeah. And the details matter. I mean, yeah. I think when you could, and sometimes I've been accused of having too much detail, right? And my editors at the deck, sometimes they'll edit stuff out because I will have a lot of detail. Like I never forget interviewing a girl from Norfolk State earlier this year. And, she had a couple of specks of blood on her white uniform and she was holding a green washcloth.
Who's that? Diamond Johnson?
No, it was actually Debria Clark.
Okay.
And the other guard, the Bulldog, who I enjoy. I think she's such a phenomenal player, but she's even a better person. Studying. She's going to be a doctor whenever she finishes her playing days. She's in the medical, heavy into medical stuff. But I put those level of details in there because I think it adds some additional authenticity to the story, and it puts you right there. Like I was there, like I saw the blood, right?
Yeah.
And it puts you right there with me. And I've always loved to paint a picture with words whenever I can, because I think that's important. And that's why I always think it's always good to have specifics, especially when you're writing about a crowd, because you can say the crowd cheered, but what did they do? They clapped, did they jump, did they get out their seats, did they high five?
Were they swaying?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so when Caitlin Clark came to Baltimore, I was like, she signed, I could say she signed autographs, but she signed shirts, she signed hats, she signed sneakers, she signed cards, she signed papers. So it's like, again, you're adding a layer of detail because you're showing what she signed and maybe how she signed it and stuff like that. Yeah. So, so I think writing is so much fun, especially when you have a great subject, right? We have a really good subject, a cool person. Because sometimes you get way too much information and not be able to use it all. They're like, oh my God, how am I use this? Or how much I get this in there and things like that. So sometimes you do have to, find a way to be a little creative with some of the information, or you just got to say, you know what, let me pick and choose what's the best information here.
Yeah. That's great stuff, man. I like it. Really like that. Now, let's go back to some of your honors, right? And I remember when Don first brought you to my attention, and I think you were receiving the Mary Jo Haverbeck Trailblazer Award. And you also considered a Rising Star Award for the College Sports Communicators. Talk about those two honors.
Those are so special because they happened at different points in my career. The Rising Star, as it implies, it was a little bit at the beginning of my career when I was, maybe in my 6th or 7th year as SID. I was in my 2nd year at Kutztown at this point, and so to be recognized then with that honor was really good. And then the fact that I got honored with my sister Siobhan Mansfield, who works at Howard now. Awesome. We were honored together, so that's always something I want to always remember. I left the sports information business and went to ESPN for 2 years before coming back to sports information. And the second award, the Haverbeck Award, it does feel like more of a lifetime achievement award, so to speak, from the standpoint of my life's work and my passion, my commitment to mentoring, especially young Black women in the profession, and just try to be a light for others, and just try to get people in rooms that I'm in and speak up on for them. And so I feel that Trailblazer Award is one, a recognition of the things that I've done behind the scenes quietly and just without fanfare, and not saying because I support women, and I was like, that's why I'm passionate about the WNBA. And I look around and, some of the women I've mentored are doing some great things, were doing some great things in college athletics, and now some of them are out of college athletics like me. But it's special. Therefore, then to have an award with Mary Jo Haverbeck's name on it, and she was just a trailblazer. She was just a wonderful woman, is a big deal to me. And then I think another honor that I'm proud of is the NCAA naming me a champion of diversity. To me, that's
really significant, right?
Yeah. Because again, it just backs up everything that I've stood for during my career. And again, you do this work, you don't do it for accolades and all that other good stuff. You do it because it's just the right thing to do. And I've been fortunate to have, a lot of young people trust me. And as and that trust doesn't happen just arbitrarily. They can look at my resume and be like, oh yeah, I'm following him and this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
I could be a really bad person, right? and they don't follow me. So I'm really blessed to have people trust me and believe in me, and really be interested in the work that I've done and my story, and just, try to take something from that to help them.
Man, that's awesome. Diversity, but I want to go back. You said you have a particular interest in helping women, especially women in sports, not just sports writing, but sports total, right? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I just think because, I think it's an underrepresented. I think women are underrepresented in sports, especially Black women. I think that there's so many dope, awesome, talented women out there that could come in and do phenomenal jobs. And for whatever reason, they aren't necessarily given the opportunity, or they aren't necessarily valued as much as they should be. And so I just figured, if I'm in these rooms and I'm in these spaces, why not pull up a table to, bring them along and help them. And, I think that I just think it's just important to increase the number of, Black women working in sports, period. I've been fortunate. I had a really wonderful graduate assistant at Kutztown. I had a mentee at Lincoln. And just to be able to pour into them, into the next generation, and just, just try to, be a resource. Because, I mean, the other piece of it is, like, they have to have the passion too.
Right.
So for me, it's just, hey, I'm here. I'll help you, but you got to want to help yourself. So if I request, hey, send me a resume or send something over, and you don't, I don't take it personal, right? Because sometimes stuff happens and they just get busy, they just can't do it. But I'm not going to be that person to consistently follow up with you either. Because ultimately you can't want something for
someone else
more than they want it for themselves.
That's right.
So again, it's like, I understand the challenges, and but I also keep a respectful barrier and distance, so to speak.
Okay. Hey, I understand. I'm starting to get that. The older I get, I'm starting to get that, man. Okay, so I want to go back in your career here. So you had prominent roles at Lincoln, Kutztown, okay, Compton State, Townsend, and UNC Greensboro. Which one you had the most fun in?
You are not going to trap me because I know this is going on Twitter. So if I say Lincoln, then somebody's going to.
So what do you mean by Lincoln?
Somebody will go in the comments and be like, "Oh, he hate this school, he hate that school," right? I think, to answer your question, I won't sidestep. I'm gonna say Kutztown, and I'm gonna say
really.
Okay. Well, and here's the reason. I think that Kutztown, those 2 years, is kind of where I really, really found myself and grew into Rob Knox as a SID. Like, I was great at Lincoln. I was good at Coppin. I was, good at Towns. I was good at USC Greensboro. But I think Kutztown was where like that sweet spot, right? I'm like, boom, I had it. But I will say this though. I'm fortunate for each of the 5 places I've worked, because I've grew and I learned so much. But I think the biggest thing is I met so many great people at every school, and the student athletes, and some of the student athletes I still keep in contact with now. And just as I'm happy for them, they're happy with me, because they see, obviously they see some of the things that I've been lucky enough to do and continue to do and be in the forefront. So, Lincoln, that was the first SID job, and we had, I had a lot of great student athletes there. Same thing at Kutztown. Coppin State was my very first Division I job, and it's really interesting because, again, when you list goals in life, being an SID was never one of them, right? But then when I pivoted and became an SID, then there's goals within the profession. And one of those was to work at a Division I school. One of those to get on the co-sign of the National Board of Directors. Yeah, you know, co-sign the president was there, but I didn't think that was possible. Just because I just didn't think it was possible, right? They hadn't had a black person in that role since 1986. So it was only one black president at the time. So I was like, you know, that's not something I could, you know, attain to. But then again, you get in there, then you start setting goals, and I've been fortunate enough to like reach all of them. And then, you know, another thing that happened to me is I got selected to the NSA Leadership Institute, and that opened up so many doors for me. That opened up a lot of, that opened up my mind and got me outside of my box. Because before it was the athletic communications box. That's all I cared about. Right. But now I'm in this program and I have compliance directors, assistant athletic directors, student athlete development, athletic trainers and stuff like that. And then during that week, you become a family because you're sharing so much and you're like experiencing so much together that now you get this support system that you didn't know you needed. And to be amongst that greatness, you know, I got to keep my end of the bargain up, right? These are my classmates are great. Yeah. Right. And you look at this 10 years later, because it's like, wow, you know, I had a post on LinkedIn, like, wow, this happened 10 years ago. And you look at us, and I can honestly say that, you know, we've all achieved a lot and we've all impacted college athletics. We've all made a difference in the lives of so many people. And we are still tightly connected. We may not talk all the time and things like that. Like one of my classmates, he just got his doctorate degree. I was on a Zoom call for it when he defended his dissertation. I mean, it's just amazing. We have like 5 or 6 people in our class that are athletic directors now. Like they're like real athletic directors. Like my boys, I'm like, hey, hook me up. You know? But again, it's just so much respect. And it comes from a place of love. And that's the one thing about the NSA Leadership Institute. That's like probably like the biggest thing that's really shaped my life more than anything, being part of that.
How did you become a part of that? Was it someone had to select you? Someone recognized the work you were doing? Or did you have to apply? Or what?
Yeah, so it was a combination of 2 things. You had to apply, which I did, and you know, you had to write an essay, and you had to be endorsed by your athletic director to attend. And you know, fortunately at Coffin State, you know, my supervisor was she was the associate AD, Alicia Shields Gasson, who she just became the AD at Mississippi Valley State. And
oh wow.
And you know, so we talked together, we worked on that, and she was like, hey, I'll talk to, you know, Mr. Ramsey, and you know, you'll be good. But my good friend Siobhan was the one that told me about the Leadership Institute. She said, Rob, you need to apply, you need to do this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And you know, obviously going through it, I realized that in that space in my life, because I had just been selected to the co-sign of the board of directors as the 3rd vice president, and I knew I was in the presidential rotation. So at that point in my life, I knew that this would be something that would help me down the road, because I knew I was going to have to interact with athletic directors and, you know, higher level athletic administrators as I, you know, went through the president's rotation. And, you know, I was shocked when I selected. I'm not even gonna lie, because I heard people who don't get selected the first time, and I was selected on my first try. And, you know, I'm so blessed for it. And the NCAA has played a huge, huge, huge role in my life, opened up my thinking, it challenged me. You know, one thing that always sticks with me is, you know, what I once thought was my floor is now my ceiling. I mean, what I once thought was my ceiling is now my floor.
Got you. I got you.
So again, it just stretch you. It just help you grow. And I'm so thankful for that. I know there's a slight tangent, and I apologize.
No, man, because I heard about different leadership. I think it was Tamika Reed when she was still at Jackson State. She got selected for one of those NCAA committees or whatever. And her comments was like, man, it really helped her kind of broaden who she was and her scope of thinking. And also, I think it gave her some visibility that she wasn't going to normally get, you know, being isolated at Jackson State. I know I'm going to get some stuff when people say, "Hey, Moses, what do you mean we isolated at Jackson?"
But they hang on every word on Twitter, boy. I tell you.
Oh man, those Jacksonites or something, man. But anyway, all right, let's go and let's pivot ourselves. Let's have some fun. Right now, the 4 commissioners have gotten together. They have banded together to start the HBC for Us committee, right? Let's not talk about the committee, but just talk about those 4 commissioners right now. How important are they for us to be able to understand the direction of HBCU sports?
I think they're critical. And I know 2 of them really well, and I don't necessarily, I know of the other 2. Like I don't know Mr. McClellan that well from the SWAC, and I don't know the SIAC commissioner or that
Dr.
great.
Holloman.
Yeah, Dr. Holloman. I don't know him all that well, but I'm familiar with Dr. McWills and Sonia, and I know I know their character. I know their work ethic, and I know their pride and their passion when it comes to their conferences. So I'm looking at this as a positive. I think this is a great step in the right direction, especially in this landscape that we're in college athletics, and even in the time that we are in America when it comes to higher education and funding and things of that nature. So I think it's great. Definitely a wait and see approach to how it's going to benefit the student athletes and the money and things of that nature, and how that's going to work. And, obviously we're in the weeds looking at the logistics and things like that. Whereas right now, top of mind is they're together. And I definitely believe they're alive. I know they've been talking about this for over a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been like almost 3 years, right?
Yes, it's been a long time coming. So I think it's good. It's definitely good for HBCUs, and I think the investment is going to be is the big thing. I think it shows the schools and administrators and that in those conferences that there's still people that's vested in us, that's going to support us and lift us, so we can continue to operate at a level that we need to be competitive.
Okay, excellent. What about the SWAC TV deal? Well, it's not really a deal. It's SWAC TV. Dr. McClellan announced on July 16th at the SWAC Media Day that they're going to take control of their own content, kind of getting partially out of being controlled by the ESPN deal that has been hovering over them for some time, as well as I think they're partially getting released from HBCU Go. Now they're going to have most of their content on their own platform. What are your thoughts?
I love it. I think anytime you can control your inventory and create a one-stop shop destination for your constituents, I think is always a good thing. I think that in the past it was always challenging to find SWAC events, specifically football and basketball. Because there was some that was HBCU Go, there was someone that was ESPN
or ESPN Plus,
right? And so it was challenging. So now that you bring everything in house, I think that's a great thing. Again, I don't know, I'm not into the details with like logistics or if there's finances involved or whatever the case may be. But I do, selfishly, for somebody like me that covers SWAC women's basketball, it's going to be great for me because now I'm able to watch more SWAC women's basketball, and I have a Roku TV in my house, so I'm able to watch it on there instead of watch it on my iPad, like I was the last couple of years. And again, I mean, if I have to pay for it, I'll pay for it. But a lot of the SWAC basketball games were behind paywalls, which requires you to buy some subscriptions, and sometimes you forget to unsubscribe after you watch the game and stuff like that. But
right, and that could keep going on,
right.
Right.
But I think it's great for the SWAC. And selfishly for me, it enables me to watch a lot more of SWAC women's basketball, which I'm really excited about. Okay,
cool. And let's talk about the direction of women's basketball in the MEAC. And you covered the MEAC. right now you have Larry Vickers. He's left the program over at Norfolk State. You have Coach Dahmen. She's now at Morgan State. Talk about the changes there and what do you expect for this upcoming season? And it was just announced that LSU will be playing against Morgan State this year.
Yeah, the MEAC's gonna be chaos. No, it's funny because I wrote about it. I wrote about all the changes a couple months ago in the in one of my columns, and I spoke to Jermaine Woods at Norfolk, and I spoke to Janae Richardson and Debria Clark because one of the things I wanted to do was like hear from them, and those are two of my favorites. I don't have a problem saying that. I tell them, I tell anybody else in the conference that that I really enjoy watching them play together. I think having them come in together and seeing them grow last year, and I'm excited to see their growth this year. Jermaine's a really good coach, and I know that Norfolk will look a little different this year. Obviously, when you remove a player like Diamond Johnson, right? Ty Grace is now the elder statesman of the MEAC. And I think and Howard lost some pieces, right? Destiny went to Wisconsin, Sanaya went to Mississippi State, which tells you, and going back to Norfolk, Mimi is now at West Virginia, and Diamond's playing in China, which tells you about the quality of the competition in the MEAC last year, right? Now that he's going to play. So I think Howard, she does a great job. She has some building blocks inside returning. And so I think Howard's going to battle. They're going to be right there in the mix. Merle sure is a team to watch out for. I really love what Coach Willis is doing with them. They finished the season really strong last year. I think they had a 6-game winning streak before they lost in the MEAC semifinals. Morgan State's going to be interested. If they're healthy, I think that Morgan can make some noise. And they got the Virginia State twosome that followed Coach Doman to Virginia State, and Tiana James and Majay Hayes, and I wrote about those two young ladies last month, and it's a really good story. If you ever get a chance to read it, it's a really good story. I mean, those two have a really special bond with one another. My guy Mosley is at Coppin. Darryl Mosley is the new coach at Coppin State. He has a whole new roster from last year. I think he has one or two players back from last year. Delaware State coach, Coach Turner, she lost some key pieces. She has a lot of turnover, and Cedric Baker down at South Carolina State. He was very successful at Savannah State for a number of years. Even when Savannah was in the MEAC, they would get to the semifinals. They won the championship. They won the MEAC championship 1 year. So I think that's some fresh energy there, and I think Central's going to do some things. I've heard some good things coming out of North Carolina Central and Coach Baxter. So the one thing I appreciate about the MEAC is that they are all open to me, and they respect the work that they respect the work that I do, and they respect the fact that I'm passionate and I genuinely care about their programs and getting their story right, and getting that message out there. Good. And not to say the SWAC coaches don't either, because they do as well.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, Rob, WNBA, you like those girls? They are doing what they need to do. They're putting it in. They're asking for pay equity.
They need it.
They need it. A lot of people are for it. Everybody's for it, Yeah, but do you think it's going to be granted? That's the key.
I believe it will be. I don't know what the level will be. Because I don't quote me, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm hearing that it's slightly complicated because I think the NBA still has some controlling say in the negotiations and equity. So it's not as simple as black and white as, well, yeah, we know we should pay you $1 million. Here's $1 million. Go keep scoring, keep doing what you do. We love you. So I don't think it's that cut and dry, but I do love the fact that these women are determined to do what they need to do until they are paid their worth. Would that result in a lockout? I don't think it will. I think that, I'm optimistic that everybody will come to some type of agreement, down the road. I think some of this stuff is just fighting from unnecessary drama, unnecessary steps and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, I think it will get worked out. I think there's a lot of there's too much investment. And the women, they will get what they believe they earn.
All right, excellent. All right, right now we're going into the football season. Of course, on the East Coast, the buzz is about Deshaun Jackson as well as Coach Michael Vick and those guys. But people keep on saying, hold on. There's some guys still named Chennis Berry out there, and Trey Oliver is out there, and Damon Wilson is out there. So what are your thoughts, man? Is it too much buzz about the NFL star power that has taken over at coaching, or is it just right?
I think it's just right. I think it will level out. I mean, I think when it went down, I think the buzz was warranted. Because you do have a couple of big names that played in the NFL that are coaching, and I mean anybody will tell you that it's not sweet, right? Just because your Michael Vick is not going to come into Norfolk and make them undefeated national champions and stuff like that. Now that can happen. I don't want to put it past them, but chances are like any coach in any profession, you're going to have to put in your work, put in the grind, and go from there. But I think it is unique in that you have one of the great quarterback receiving duels coaching
against one another, right?
And I think that October 30th game in Philly is going to be an event. I think it's going to be something special for Norfolk and Dell State and the HBCU community. But I think that we look at the BAC. I mean, obviously, South Carolina State. They're still the gold standard, right? I think Howard and North Carolina Central are always right there. I think Morgan State's going to have a nice year. So again, it's like you got the star power, and that's good. But I think when it's all said and done, I think that those coaches or programs that win will get their share of the spotlight.
Yeah. And of course, Jackson State in the SWAC.
I saw their nationally ranked
program.
Yeah, they are nationally ranked now in the FCS top 25. So that's awesome.
Yeah, number 17. And look, it was kind of curious because last season they finished 18th, even when they won the HBCU national championship. So
and it's really interesting because obviously Dion was at Jackson State for a couple of years, and the big buzz and everything, which was great. And some people thought that Jackson State will fall off because once he left, he took his sons and Travis and the rest of some of the people with him. But it's just a testament to the culture that Jackson State has had with football and in general. So happy for Jackson State to see them nationally ranked, and I think again they're the team to beat. But you know how the SWAC is, man. Any given Saturday.
Yeah, the wacky SWAC, man.
Yes.
But I tell you this much. Like you said, it's a testament to TC Taylor for what he's been able to build after Coach Prime was there as well. So congratulations to them. Now, let me just ask you one football question here. Shedeur Sanders was announced today that the fourth string quarterback on the Browns football team will now be the starter for their first preseason game this weekend. What are your thoughts?
I don't know what Cleveland's doing. I mean, I didn't understand the draft strategy. To be honest with you, I mean, okay, if you don't want to take Shedeur, that's fine. That's on you. But you draft a kid from Oregon, who's not bad, and then you draft Shedeur. So I'm not sure what you're trying to do. But I'm happy Shedeur, getting a chance to start. I don't know what that means because NFL preseason is different than it was 20 years ago.
Right.
Like most of these preseason games, like the top players really won't play, if at all. And so you're really getting a lot of
especially not that first game, right?
Right. And I mean, now the preseason is from 4 to 3 games. And so, maybe they just try to get a look at Shedeur. I haven't heard one way or the other how he's doing or not doing in camp or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, well, he's been the best quarterback in the camp thus far. He's completing around 70% of his passes. He had at one point he had 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's outpacing Flacco. Kenny Pickett's injured. Now the young man from Oregon, the 3rd round pick, Dylan, he's injured as well. Both of those guys have hamstring issues. So they had to bring up Huntley, who played for the Ravens.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously there's opportunity emerging for Shedeur.
Yeah.
To climb up the depth chart. And so this is opportunity for him to, to take advantage of it and make the most of it. And, I mean, would I love to see him opening day starter for Cleveland? Absolutely. I felt that the kid was done wrong in the draft, but for whatever reason, I'm not one of those people that subscribe to sit here and say, oh, it's because he was black and they don't want, I'm not subscribed. I'm not allowing myself to subscribe to that. Clearly something, there was something about him or on him that allowed him to go all the way to the 3rd day past teams that needed quarterbacks. So that was just concerning, especially when all the pre-draft buzz was
he was going in the first round.
Right? He's going in the first round and so forth and so on. And so to slide that far down is really interesting.
Yeah, we don't, like you said, nobody knows what's happening in the Cleveland Browns brain thrust. You really don't know what's happening with those guys. It could be that it may be, hey, here's a look at this kid. Are you willing to trade for him? It could be a situation where if he does extremely well, there's going to be a problem getting rid of him. And then what would the coaching staff do there? So either way, it's great to see one of our HBCU products being out there at quarterback playing in the National Football League. And Travis Hunter as well at Jackson.
And I've heard some good things about Travis Hunter at Jackson. I mean,
he's like
Jacksonville.
He's their first string receiver, but he's second in the cornerback room. So interesting. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that Heisman Trophy winner goes at this time. All right. Any last comments, thoughts that you have that you would like to share with the listeners, Rob?
Man, I got so many. No, I just want to take a moment to just thank my family, right? Because without my wife Trudy, we've coming up on 18 years of marriage.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. My 2 kids, Rob and Drew. None of this would be possible. They, I hate to wait to use the word allow, but they make it possible for me to be able to write at a high level, to go to these games and be present and do these videos and do these TikToks and just try to just stay present. And I'm sure this will probably air before I but I'll be at NABJ, which is in Cleveland.
When is it taking place? It's
this week. Okay. Tonight's like really, I mean, there's nothing going on. People getting in town tonight. I'm actually driving to Cleveland tomorrow morning. And so, they make it possible for me to be on the scene, so to speak, and be a voice and be present at, these women's games when, Towson is hosting and Delaware is hosting and Morgan State and Coppin State, just taking advantage of my geography, going to Philly to Drexel. They make it possible because there's times I'm not here all the time, or I'm here for a couple of hours and I'm on the road at the game, come home, they sleep. And, so I just want to, just really, really thank my family. And there's been, so many people, a lot of people in my life that's really helped me get to where I am. There's people that's poured into me, people that's invested in me and supported me, really, along the journey. So
who are some of those names? I know it's hard to put you on the spot. There's probably so many.
Yeah, you really gonna have Twitter.
We'll come back to that one more time. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
it's a lot, and I just appreciate all of them.
The National Association of Black Journalists It's very important, guys. Go and support those guys and become a part of the organization as well. And they've helped launch plenty of young careers and their support through mentorship as well. So it's a very important organization. All right, Rob, be safe on the road.
Thank you, sir.
And it's a pleasure. Time. And like I tell everybody, we give you the Bernie Mac treatment. You know, you're family now. You can't get rid of us.
I love that.
Part of the HBCU Legends family. Okay.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate this conversation. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate you. Rob, tell everybody how they can find you on the World Wide Web.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at KnoxRob1. My Instagram is Rob from Chester, PA. I'm on Blue Sky too, but I don't know my Blue Sky. I'm on LinkedIn, Rob Knox on LinkedIn. So I'm everywhere. I'm really easy to find on social media because I like to try to share my writing as much as I can.
Yeah, you do a great job, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate you allowing me to connect with you. Any advice you could give to me, as well as anybody I know, please hit me up. Let me know what's going on so we can
be connected now.
Like yeah, you said, we're family, baby. You can't get rid of it. That's what I'm telling you. Well, look, guys, you can always find HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated, our writings there. And you can check me out at HBCU Legends, as well as KTMOZE on all social media platforms. I'm Kyle T. Mosley. That's Mr. Rob Knox. Rob, take care, man.
Thank you. Good one. Yeah, have a good one as well.
You too.